Okay, so I want to take you on a little tour of my fish room, give you an idea of the scope of what I'm dealing with here. This is my water conditioning bin. It's about 120 gallons. It's got a float valve attached to it, and it's got a 250 gallon per hour pump on a hose. As you can see, I've got a little tag that lets me know whether I've primed it or whether it has no prime in it. It's hooked up to basically just a water line I installed, but regular garden hose spigot attached to, like I said, a float valve, and it lets me autofill and just walk away, and then I can prime it. Then I've got a couple of smaller tanks here with some babies I bred early this spring. Little Ryukins, little Batik Ryukins. These ones have some funky little tails, but you can see on them they're little Batiks. They have world scales. Let me get them to focus in. So they've got this funny little pattern in their scales. I've got some baby Ranchu down here in a 50. This is one of my, I call it an upright under gravel filter. It's just a deli cup with some holes poked in the bottom and gravel with an air stone, and that takes care of supplying some biological filtration. Up here I've got Iggy. Iggy is over here in the corner at the moment. That's my big bubble eye, my giant bubble eye. I usually let algae just grow on at least 3 sides in the bottom of my tanks. Here I've got a 75 with an under gravel and some power heads, and my large common goldfish. And down here I've got another 50, and it's a lot dimmer. I'm sorry, you might not be able to see these guys very good, but these are my pearl scales. And then obviously I'm out in the garage, and I've got my sulcata tortoises and some bettas and live food cultures here. And then got my male fantails here. These are all my boys, kept away from my girls so they don't just get to breed anytime they want. There's my panda, love that fish. There's my lock-in, and one of my little calico boys, another little calico, and my tellies. I love my telescopes, so cute. And that is my Tamasaba. That's basically just a single tail Ryukin. That's what they call it as a Tamasaba. And my blue calico bubble eye pair, and they're like, bubble eyes are really boring most of the time. They just kind of sit around and do not much of anything. And then I've got my Ryukin girls and my calico walking girl. And keep my girls separate from my boys so they stay nice and egg heavy. And then I've got my pom-poms. Pom-poms are really not my favorite, but I love these guys because they actually are really nice pom-poms, which you don't tend to see all the time. Then I've got what I call the wall of tens, and this is all grow out for the most part of babies. And then got a couple tanks of guppies. Got more babies. These are single tail bubble eye. Another type that you just don't tend to see a lot of at all. This is a bubble eye Tasakin. See, it's got that beautiful up and swept curled tail. And here is my Ranchu. He's my big boy Ranchu. Yup. He's my tamest fish, I think. I think he's actually my tamest fish. He literally likes to be petted. And some blue metallic bubble eye babies. And this is another one of my favorite fish. He's a dorsal Ryukin bubble eye, which again is a type of bubble eye you just never really see. And more bubble eyes. And then up here I have the commons that I bred over the summer in 5-gallon tanks. This is one of my favorite tanks. I love old tanks. I love antique aquariums. This is a purple. This is a purple common. I don't know if you can see the coloration very well. And a 20 that I let Java moss grow in and sometimes hatch out fry in when it's kind of chilly. More of the commons that I am growing out from the summer spawns. And then I've got, these are actually half panda to my Ryukin girl, the big girl, and there's two 15s here. I have to get up and adjust things sometimes because it's turning into cooler weather out here. So I've got my ladder in the middle of everything. And then I've got, these are bowls and some tubs I usually use for spawning. Let's see, actually this is the spawn that I had. And there's some eggs and fry that'll hatch out there, and I'll just transfer those after they've gotten to the free swimming stage. Down here you're not going to be able to see it, but I've got totes with spawns that are growing out, just in totes with sponge filters. And I have a bunch of these Sterilite totes that I use just on the floor with no heat and sponge filters. I mean, that's it. And then I've got my pass-through system, which these just have lift tubes on them to keep the water level, and then I can just flush water right through all of them from top to bottom. And I have different sizes of goldfish sorted into each one so that they get their own space and don't compete with each other too much for the same fish of the same size to be kind of in segregation. Tends to help stabilize feeding. Anyway, that's my fish room. I've got, last time I counted, I think, I've got my, I take my baby guppies out of the two tanks and segregate them and grow them out in little 2.5s, unaerated, no heat. Tends to be pretty warm out here, so everybody just, only the guppies have heaters, but I only turn them on when it's gonna get really cold out here, which I just don't let happen. There's my hose is just coiled up on the wall. This whole thing is basically insulated like a walk-in cooler. It's just mylarized foam on the walls. I find that helps keep condensation to a minimum, and it won't suck up moisture like a wall made out of drywall or more porous material. Is not great for a fish room. It's almost always going to have mildew. This wipes clean. I can always bleach or peroxide it. Oh, that's my RO filter. It's also hooked up to my reservoir, so if I want to run RO directly, I can always do that. My drains, I have my vacuum, and oh, you can see I've got this snaky octopus of crazy tubes that are everywhere. That's because my air compressor is actually in another room. You can hear aerators because some places I just have like it on their own aerator, but mostly it all runs off a 150 psi, 200 psi air compressor that's actually in the next room over. Anyway, thanks for checking me out. See you next time. Oh, extra plants, spawn aid, all that, my cull monster, my Pac-Man frog. I love my Pac-Man frog. Probably can't see it, but that's what I use to take care of the deformities and get rid of the deformed fish. I just have radiant heaters up on blocks. I gotta have everything on blocks because the tortoise hit, and I gotta have this bumper next to all my tanks. See this bottle bumper? That's so that the tortoise can't actually like get next to things and push them over, because they're really strong, and that's kind of one of the things they're known for. My 150, the brace let go on me. I gotta get it fixed, so it's just holding a whole bunch of miscellaneous crap right now. Anyway, that's my fish room. Like I said, it's nothing glorious, but it's mine and I love it.